What's happening with Piers Morgan?
What's happening with Piers? I don't know, he's irrelevant, isn't he? He is, isn't he? Do you know what? He changes like the wind. He's like, what does he actually believe? Do you know what I mean? He's pro-Israel, he's against Israel, pro-Black Lives Matter, against Black Lives Matter, pro-vaccine, against the vaccine, lockdowns, against the lockdowns. It's like, what does he even believe?
Do you think he just jumps on the bandwagon to get views?
He jumps on the bandwagon and get views, and I think everyone sees that. Do you know what I mean? And I'd say that Piers is if I could describe him in media terms, he's a dinosaur.
I actually watched him on the Tyson. I think he was on Mike Tyson podcast. And he was sitting smoking a joint. He was actually talking all right. I think when you're in the media, I think it must fuck with your mind, because you can't just follow your heart. You can't just follow what you want instead of following the narratives. He seems to jump with the crowds.
Well, he was in my film Silenced, yeah? And what he did, when a 15-year-old boy, remember this, a school playground incident happened where one boy poured a bottle of water on another boy, he used his daytime TV platform to demand severe retribution against the racist vermin. He described a 15-year-old kid as vermin. Remember, he talks about me being irresponsible, yeah, and me not being a journalist. So this journalist, Piers Morgan, who sat at the head of the Daily Mirror newspaper at the height of the rape gang scandal in our country, are we supposed to believe he didn't know there was a rape gang scandal in our country? He did not report on it. He hacked dead children's phones. He doctored pictures of our armed forces for torturing Iraqi prisoners, yeah, proven that he doctored them. So all these things, and yet he wants to look down and sneer down his nose upon me and my journalism. Whereas in reality, what has he actually done in journalism? Like, what is his position now? And with his lies, so he demanded severe retribution against a 15-year-old child. From his calls for severe retribution, it resulted in death threats, the family coming under attack, threats to rape the children. He still hasn't even owned that. He hasn't held his hands up and said, look, I fucked up. I got it wrong. And that's what he did. And he got it wrong to a child. Yeah. And do you know what else he done? He sat down with Andrew Tate. And the knock-on offence, when he goes on about me, he sat down with Andrew Tate and he said to Andrew Tate, your mate is encouraging violent attacks against mosques, talking about me. That had 8 million views. The next day after that, my mum and dad got a knock on the door by the police, giving them an Osmo warning for endangerment to their life. I had to fly my mum and dad to Portugal the next day after Piers Morgan's irresponsible reporting, which is what it is. Not just irresponsible, the downright lies that he's told about me. So he keeps going on about now, after having me blocked for 4 years, after the last time I spoke to him on Good Morning Britain, which was when after the Ariana Grande concert, when I tried to discuss important topics, and that, when I went into that discussion with Piers Morgan, I had every bit of dirt about his life, his sordid life, his lies. But I thought, I'm on national TV. The public need this conversation. They don't need a conversation of me against Piers Morgan. They need a conversation about Islam, about the mosques, about jihad, and about rapes and grooming and what's happening to our kids. That's what we need to use this 2 or 3 minutes to talk about. So whilst he tried to come at me with attacks against my personal character, I didn't want to return those attacks. I wanted to use the opportunity to try and have discussions around Islam. And that's what I did. And Piers, that discussion hasn't aged very well for Piers, because all he done was scream at me about showing some damn respect for the Quran because I held up the Quran. I've actually watched continued conversations recently where he sits and has a discussion with Jordan Peterson. He doesn't call him an Islamophobe. He doesn't attack him as far right. He doesn't scream at him to shut his mouth when Jordan Peterson is simply having the same discussions that I had. So Piers obviously has a problem with me. I'd say it comes down to, again, my class and the fact that these journalists don't like the fact that now they're the old media. We're the new media. It doesn't really matter, Piers, what you say. And I come out of jail and Piers was saying, oh, now he wants to sit down and talk to me. Why would I sit down and talk to you? I will talk to Piers Morgan, but when I finish talking to people who I see as far more relevant than him.